Hello, fellow project managers. How would you like to be able to better explain, coach your dev team, etc., about Scrum and their responsibilities? Um, my name is Tim Mcdermott. I'm a software development project manager living in the beautiful city of Tampa Bay, Florida. And tonight I'm coming to you from the downtown area of Tampa Bay in front of the Bank of America building, and we have this beautiful metal sculpture behind us. So that's one of the beautiful things that you'll see if you come and visit Tampa. So one way to, if you're working with a team of Waterfall people who are experienced working on and in Waterfall project management, one way to explain it to them is to kind of discuss the roles and the work that you do in project management and how does it translate over into Scrum, etc. So first, this is a big subject, but I won't go into all of it, but I'll start with the kind of what is a project in Scrum. A project in Waterfall City, it has a definite beginning and a definite end. And it's a unique piece of work. It's something that you don't do on a routine basis. That's a project definition. Now, in Scrum, the project becomes the sprints. Their projects exist in Scrum, but they're called sprints. And so sprints have a definite begin date and then a definite end date, and they have a goal, and etc., just like the project does. So those become the projects. So that's the main translation from project to Scrum sprints. And that's that. You need to understand that. The projects exist and sprints go from sprint planning into execution of the sprint, and the end with the review meetings, the demo meeting. So just like a project does, it goes from planning to executing to testing and deploying, etc. Now in Waterfall, you have the role of the project manager. How does that translate over into a Scrum Master? And the project manager manages the work of what's done in the project. They project manage the project. In addition, they coach and facilitate that team through the project. So that translates, in the Scrum world, translates over to a Scrum Master. Now with the exception that, so the Scrum Master does the coaching and facilitating part of the project manager role, but when you translate over from Waterfall to Scrum, the responsibility of project managing the project kind of gets stripped from the project manager as it goes from Scrum Master. As a Scrum Master, he has very little say-so in the execution of how the work is done in the project, in the sprint. So they experience a loss of control, and they need to be kind of coached through that. Now the project team versus the dev team. In project management, you have the project team, the people doing the work. And in Scrum, they translate over into the dev team, the people doing the work. And in the project team, you have a lot of specialists, people with specialized skills doing specialized work. And they're individual contributors to the project. Now when you go over to the dev team, go over to Scrum, and they become part of a Scrum team, they're expected to be not specialists, but cross-functional people, cross-functional skills, etc. Not specialists anymore. They need to be able to do everything that's in the sprint, that they could perform any function in the sprint. They still remain individual contributors, but earlier when I was talking about the project manager and his responsibilities of project management, he gets stripped of those. Where do those go? Those project management responsibilities go over to the dev team. So the dev team is no longer working in the project, they're also working on the project as a team. They collaborate and manage the work in the daily Scrum meetings. And that's a big transition for them. They're not used to that. So as a coach of an Agile coach, coaching the team going over from projects to Scrum, you need to teach them on how to do that. And you need to supply them with the tools to manage the sprint. They need to have the sprint board, and they need to have burn down charts, etc., so they can see what's going on in sprint. So that's part of the transformation from project team to a dev team in Scrum. And the product owner in Scrum, well, that was in Waterfall, it was the sponsor. The sponsor was responsible for delivering the resources and also helping with organizational impediments to the project and getting those removed. When that sponsor goes over to a product owner, he keeps those same responsibilities, but he also has to become the voice of the customer. He has to be able to translate, speak on behalf of the customer to the dev team. And that's a new responsibility for a sponsor / product owner to have thrust upon them, and they're going to need coaching and helping with that. So that's it. That's how the roles translate from Waterfall to Scrum, and that also shows you where you might have problems with the Scrum product owner. He might not be ready to be the voice of the customer yet. With the project team becoming the dev team, they don't really understand yet that they are accountable for managing the sprint to achieving the sprint goal. And the project manager going from project manager to Scrum Master, he's going to have to adjust to being not in control anymore, and not being able to give orders, but to be more of a servant leader. Thanks, and I hope you valued that lesson. If you like it, click on link, click on share. And as for me, I'm going to go explore the structure behind me a little bit better. Thank you all very much.